The galaxy trembled under the shadow of the Valorian Dominion, a massive alien empire that had become the epitome of invincibility. Their technological advancements far surpassed anything seen in the known universe, and their military might was unrivaled. The Dominion's warships were colossal, equipped with energy shields that could withstand the most powerful attacks and weapons capable of decimating entire fleets in seconds. Their tactics were brutal but efficient, leaving no room for error or weakness. The Dominion's conquest of the galaxy was swift and merciless, their fleets carving through star systems with the precision of a surgeon's scalpel, obliterating any race that dared to resist. For centuries, the Dominion had been the uncontested rulers of their galactic sector. Thousands of worlds had fallen under their iron grip, their people either enslaved or annihilated in the wake of their conquests. The Dominion's arrogance grew with each victory, and they became increasingly indifferent to the suffering they caused. They saw themselves as the rightful masters of the galaxy, and all who opposed them were destined for extinction. Among the many worlds they had conquered, Earth and humanity stood as a lone, insignificant speck in the vastness of space. Despite their impressive potential, humanity was still regarded as primitive by galactic standards. They lacked advanced spacefaring technology and were outclassed by the Dominion's overwhelming firepower. Earth's colonies, though prosperous, were scattered and isolated, making them easy targets for the Dominion's fleets. The human military was small, unorganized, and underfunded, a pale reflection of the power that the Dominion commanded. When the Valorians turned their attention to Earth, they saw little challenge. The Dominion dispatched a massive fleet to invade a human colony on the fringes of known space. The fleet was led by Admiral Valar, a veteran of countless campaigns, known for his ruthless efficiency. The human forces on the colony stood little chance. They were caught completely off guard and overwhelmed in a matter of hours. The Valorian warships obliterated human defenses with ease, reducing the colony to rubble and leaving nothing but smoldering ruins in their wake. In the wake of the destruction, the Valorians sent a chilling message to Earth. They offered humanity two choices: surrender and join the Dominion as subjugated citizens, or face complete annihilation. The message was clear, unyielding, and full of disdain. The Dominion's fleets were vast, their power immeasurable, and they had no patience for human defiance. To the Valorians, humanity was no different than the countless other civilizations they had crushed over the centuries. Yet even in the face of certain destruction, the humans refused to bow. Earth's leaders, determined to resist, made a desperate call for reinforcements. Their only hope lay in the rumors that had begun to surface about a mysterious human vessel, a ship that was unlike any other in the galaxy, a ship that had been hidden away for decades. Some said it was an ancient relic. Others claimed it was the product of a secret human project that had never been revealed to the public. As the Dominion prepared to launch their final strike on Earth, they had no reason to believe that humanity could offer any meaningful resistance. The Dominion's pride and arrogance clouded their judgment, making them blind to the possibility that one human ship, whatever it was, could pose any threat to them. But as they were about to learn, underestimating humanity would prove to be a costly mistake. This opening part sets the stage for the overwhelming dominance of the Valorian Dominion and the human resistance, establishing the stakes and the overwhelming odds against humanity. The introduction of the mysterious human vessel sets up the intrigue for the rest of the story. With Earth on the brink of destruction and its military crushed under the might of the Valorian Dominion, humanity was teetering on the edge of annihilation. The Dominion's demands for surrender were clear: submit or face total obliteration. Yet even as the Valorians prepared their final devastating assault, there was a glimmer of hope. Rumors had spread of an ancient and mysterious human warship, the Phoenix, a vessel that some believed held the key to humanity's survival. The truth behind the ship was shrouded in secrecy, its existence known only to a select few within Earth's military command. Commander Elix Reed, a seasoned officer with a reputation for strategic brilliance, was given the seemingly impossible task of locating the Phoenix. With humanity's fate hanging in the balance, Reed was sent on a covert mission to uncover the ship and harness its potential before the Valorians could wipe out any hope of resistance. The stakes were higher than ever, and Reed knew that any mistake could spell the end for all of humanity. The Phoenix was a relic, a forgotten project from a time long before the human fleet had evolved into what it was today. Designed by Earth's top engineers in secret, the ship was an experimental prototype, unlike any vessel in the galaxy. It was equipped with technology so advanced that it made even the Dominion's most powerful warships look outdated. The Phoenix was stealthy, fast and agile, able to slip past enemy lines undetected. Its weapon systems were equally formidable, with energy cannons capable of overwhelming even the best defended targets. The ship's most impressive feature, however, was its AI-driven tactical system, which allowed it to outthink and outmaneuver opponents in ways that were almost unthinkable for most military fleets. But for decades, the Phoenix had remained hidden, its location known only to a small group of humans who had sworn to keep it a secret. Its crew, handpicked for their expertise and loyalty, had trained for this moment, though none of them knew how dire the situation had become. Commander Reed, along with a team of elite officers and engineers, embarked on the journey to locate the Phoenix, which had been dormant in a remote corner of the galaxy, concealed from the prying eyes of the Valorians. They knew that finding the ship would be their only chance to turn the tide. After months of searching through dangerous, uncharted space, Reed and his team discovered the Phoenix hidden on a forgotten asteroid. The ship's systems had been deactivated for years, but the crew was able to bring it back online. The vessel was a marvel of engineering, sleek, powerful, and deadly. But it wasn't just its advanced technology that made it a beacon of hope for humanity. It was the crew's unwavering resolve, their refusal to give up in the face of overwhelming odds. The Phoenix wasn't just a ship, it was a symbol of humanity's indomitable spirit. Commander Reed quickly understood that defeating the Valorians in a conventional battle was impossible. The Dominion's fleet was too large, too powerful. But the Phoenix, with its unparalleled stealth capabilities and devastating weaponry, could strike at the heart of the Valorian armada. It could disrupt their operations and give humanity the breathing room it desperately needed. As Reed prepared to engage the Valorians, he knew the challenge ahead would be monumental. The Phoenix was one ship against an empire, but it was humanity's last hope, and Commander Reed was determined to make sure it would not be extinguished without a fight. This second part builds the suspense, as Reed and his crew uncover the powerful Phoenix, setting the stage for a high-stakes battle ahead. The combination of advanced technology, secrecy, and human determination creates a sense of hope amidst the overwhelming odds, preparing the reader for the pivotal confrontations to come. With the Phoenix now operational and its crew ready for battle, Commander Elix Reed knew that humanity's survival depended on their ability to outmaneuver the Valorian fleet. The Dominion's warships were massive, their firepower nearly unmatched, and they had already proven their ruthlessness in annihilating entire worlds. But the Phoenix, despite being vastly outgunned, had something the Valorians did not: the element of surprise, speed, and the ingenuity of its crew. The first encounter with the Dominion's forces came sooner than expected. As Reed's team monitored the Valorian movements, they realized that Earth's last stronghold was about to fall. The Valorians, eager to crush any remaining resistance, had begun their final assault. Their fleet, numbering in the hundreds, was descending upon the last remaining human defenses. The Phoenix, a mere fraction of their fleet's size, would need to disrupt their strategy and strike where the Dominion was weakest without giving them a chance to retaliate. Reed decided to take an unconventional approach. The Phoenix wasn't designed to engage in open warfare. It was built for stealth, infiltration, and surprise attacks. To survive, Reed would have to think beyond the typical strategies that the Dominion expected. He knew that the Phoenix's strength lay in its ability to outsmart and outmaneuver the Valorians, who were used to overwhelming force and direct conflict. A battle of attrition would be suicide. The first strike came under the cover of darkness. The Phoenix, using its advanced cloaking technology, slipped undetected into the Valorian fleet's formation. The Dominion's ships, some of the largest and most advanced in the galaxy, were caught off guard when the Phoenix emerged from stealth and attacked a key Valorian capital ship. With surgical precision, the Phoenix's energy weapons obliterated the capital ship's command center, sending shockwaves through the Valorian fleet. The attack left the Dominion scrambling, as their leadership was thrown into chaos. Reed's tactic was simple: hit hard, hit fast, and disappear before the baying enemy could react. The Valorians, stunned by this sudden and unexpected assault, attempted to regroup and retaliate, but they found themselves constantly at a disadvantage. The Phoenix, with its unparalleled agility and rapid re-engagement capabilities, was able to strike several more crucial blows to the Dominion fleet. Reed's crew launched surprise raids on supply lines, destroyed communication relays, and crippled several of the Valorian ships' weapon systems, all while staying one step ahead of the Valorians. Each successful attack was a blow to the Dominion's morale, and with every victory, Reed's crew grew more confident that they could turn the tide. However, the Dominion was not easily defeated. Admiral Valar, their relentless leader, ordered the fleet to tighten its formation and shift tactics. They could no longer rely on brute strength alone. They needed to anticipate the Phoenix's movements. The Valorians deployed specialized tracker ships and enhanced their own stealth capabilities in an attempt to locate and destroy the Phoenix. Despite these countermeasures, Reed was always a step ahead. His knowledge of Valorian tactics combined with the Phoenix's superior technology allowed him to predict their moves and stay elusive. The battle wasn't without its losses. The Phoenix's crew, despite their best efforts, faced injuries and near-miss attacks that forced them to push the ship to its limits. Yet, each small victory felt like a personal triumph. They were slowly but surely breaking the Valorians' confidence, making them question their once unstoppable dominance. As the battle raged on, it became clear that humanity, once considered weak and insignificant by the Valorians, had found its strength in the most unlikely of places. One ship, against an empire, was proving that it could make a difference. With each skirmish, the Phoenix was gaining ground. The Dominion had underestimated humanity, and now they were starting to realize the cost of that mistake. But Reed knew that this was only the beginning. The Valorians would not give up so easily. The next phase of the conflict would be even more dangerous, but for the first time humanity had the upper hand, however small it may have seemed. This third part focuses on the Phoenix's first strikes against the Valorian fleet, highlighting Reed's unconventional tactics and the crew's growing resolve. The tension of the battle escalates, showing that despite their underdog status, humanity's intelligence and ingenuity are beginning to turn the tide in their favor. After weeks of strategic strikes and continuous skirmishes, the Phoenix's impact on the Valorian fleet became undeniable. Despite the immense power of the Dominion, the relentless guerrilla tactics employed by Commander Elix Reed and his crew had shaken their confidence. Yet, the Valorians were far from defeated. As Reed and his crew prepared for their final confrontation, the Valorians, unwilling to let one human vessel ruin their decades-long campaign, launched their last, most devastating assault. Admiral Valar, whose pride had been wounded by the Phoenix's repeated strikes, was determined to crush humanity's resistance once and for all. He summoned the remaining ships of the Dominion, gathering a massive armada to ensure Earth's annihilation. This was not just a final push to wipe out humanity's last hope. It was a statement. The Dominion would show the galaxy that no force, no matter how resilient, could stand against their might. Their fleet, numbering in the thousands, would descend upon Earth and obliterate everything in their path. Commander Reed knew that the situation was now critical. The Phoenix, although powerful and agile, was still just one ship. Even with its advanced weapons, it stood little chance against the full force of the Valorian armada. But Reed's resolve was unshakable. He understood that this was humanity's last stand. If the Phoenix fell, Earth's fate would be sealed. The Dominion would wipe out any remaining hope of resistance, and humanity would be reduced to nothing. more than a footnote in the galaxy's history. In a desperate gamble, Reed deployed the Phoenix's most dangerous weapon, a relic from the ship's original design that had been kept dormant until now. The weapon was a supercharged energy cannon, capable of obliterating entire fleets with a single shot. However, it came with a significant risk. The weapon's power was volatile, and firing it could cause catastrophic damage to the Phoenix itself. Reed was well aware of the stakes, but in that moment, he knew there was no other choice. It was the only way to turn the tide of battle. As the Valorian fleet closed in, the Phoenix engaged in its final maneuver. The ship weaved through the Valorian armada, evading fire and inflicting surgical damage to key targets. Reed's tactics were as sharp as ever, drawing the Dominion's forces into traps and striking at their weakest points. But the Valorians were relentless, and the Phoenix could feel the pressure mounting as more and more enemy ships locked onto their position. In the heat of battle, the time came to fire the superweapon. Reed gave the order. With a thunderous roar, the Phoenix unleashed its devastating blast. The energy cannon erupted with a blinding surge of power, cutting through the Valorian fleet with unrelenting force. The shockwave from the blast tore through enemy ships, ripping them apart in seconds. Entire sections of the Valorian armada were wiped from existence. For a moment, the battlefield was silent, save for the remnants of the Dominion's ships drifting in the void. But the Phoenix paid a heavy price. The ship's hull groaned under the strain of the weapon, and the crew felt the tremors as the vessel was pushed to its limits. The superweapon's activation had drained nearly all of the Phoenix's power reserves, and the ship's systems were faltering. Reed and his crew, though victorious, now faced a dire reality. They had dealt the Dominion a crippling blow, but the Phoenix was barely functional. As the Valorian fleet reeled from the devastation, Admiral Valar, seeing the destruction wrought by the Phoenix, gave the order to retreat. The Dominion, once confident in their invincibility, was forced to pull back. They had underestimated humanity, and the price for that mistake was higher than they could have ever imagined. Though the Valorians had not been completely defeated, their morale had been shattered. The Phoenix had done what no one thought possible. It had forced the Dominion to retreat and left them questioning their once unquestionable power. With the battle over, Reed surveyed the wreckage of the Valorian fleet. The Phoenix was battered, its systems on the verge of collapse, but Earth had survived. The Dominion, for all its might, had been driven away. In that moment, Commander Reed realized that humanity had done more than just hold their ground. They had sent a message to the galaxy. No matter how overwhelming the odds, no matter how powerful the enemy, humanity would never back down. Phoenix had proven that one human ship could stand against an empire, and that even the mightiest of forces could be brought to their knees by the will of those who refused to be broken. In this final part, the story reaches its climax with a devastating battle where humanity's ingenuity and determination come to the forefront. The Phoenix's use of its superweapon turns the tide of the conflict, and though it comes at great cost, it symbolizes humanity's triumph over overwhelming odds. The Valorian retreat signals a victory, but the human cost and the uncertainty of future conflicts leave the story open for what might come next.